really excited to have everybody here, Coach Heather Olmstead and John Neely, and sophomore setter Whitney Bauer, and senior middle blocker Whitney Eschenberg. We're excited for you guys to join us, and we're excited for all the fans to hop on, because I think all of us have been missing volleyball over the past few months, and we're excited for the fall season. So we can get to everybody's questions and kind of talk a little bit with the team and kind of what's going on. So first thing, let's start and let's kind of hear what's been going on in your lives over the past couple months. And should we start with the coaches? Coach Olmstead, you want to tell us what your day looks like here in quarantine?
Yeah, I want to say thanks for everyone for hopping on the Zoom session with us. I definitely miss our fans, and so we appreciate the opportunity to engage and interact with you, the questions you submitted. We're just excited to share a little bit of our day with you and what we're doing, and looking forward to seeing you all this fall. So thanks a lot for being here. And we're doing a lot of things that we normally do, except we're just not together. So our girls are working out, we're getting prepped for the fall, and we're moving forward as if the fall is going to happen. And we don't know, that's to be determined, but we want to be ready if that happens. So we're getting some traveling squared up as best as we can, getting our tournaments ready. And yeah, I think it's been great for us to interact as a team over Zoom and keep our connections as best we can. We're working on our team culture. We're working on some team leadership, and we're really just doing the best we can to learn and to take these opportunities to reinvent ourselves as learners, as people, as athletes, and to really dive into some things that we've been wanting to do to get better individually and as a team.
That sounds awesome. That's probably pretty hard given you've had to make some adjustments. Players, how is that working over Zoom? What are some fun things you guys are doing as a team?
Yeah, we have a couple fun team activities that we're doing, and we continue film groups over Zoom. So it's been different, but it's been fun.
Kennedy?
Yeah, it's been super fun. We get to meet like 3 times a week with our coaches and also with the girls, and it's been different interacting this way, but it has been cool to see how much more close we've become from doing this. Then it's also cool because our strength coach Terrell, he sends us workouts every week, and our nutritionist, we are still able to talk to him, and he gets on and helps us, and we meet with Craig, our mental strength coach, every week. So we're still doing a lot of the same things, like Heather said. It just looks a little different.
That sounds amazing. I need to get on those Zoom calls. I think I'll rather than just get up and eat a snack every 10 seconds, which is a lot of people have been asking how they can train at home and kind of some drills to keep up their volleyball skills. Coach Neely, you want to give us some examples of your intuitive volleyball drills when we're away from the court?
Yeah, I know it's obviously hard to figure out ways to train, and I'm not sure these are the absolute best things to do, but there's something. I think that if you searched online on YouTube and things like that, you'd be able to find a lot more ideas. These are just some things that we've talked about doing. I'm going to run through each skill. I'll probably demo some of these behind me in my room, so hopefully I don't break anything. But I'll just go through each skill and then kind of show some different ways we could practice at home. So the first thing that I want to talk about is just different ways that you can practice passing. So I've got my handy dandy Go Cougs volleyball, and there's a lot of different things you can do. One simple thing to do is just practice passing against the wall. For us this spring, we worked a lot on our posture and passing with our shoulders forward. And so you can use a ball and a wall to really just practice staying forward and just driving the ball against the wall. You can kind of mix it up so you can work on your angles, pass it out to your left, pass it to your right, things like that, where you're really working on keeping your shoulders forward. The ball didn't fall, so I'm 1 for 1 with demoing. Pretty happy about that. The other thing that you can do if you really just kind of want to work on that passing ball control, kind of pass against the wall, pass to yourself, pass against the wall, pass to yourself, pass to the wall, pass to yourself. Things like that where you're really focused on keeping your posture. That's easy to do without a net. It's easy to do without a teammate. You can really get good at that posture. As serving, it's a little bit more difficult unless you have a nice sand court in your backyard. One thing that we talk a lot about with serving is our rhythm of our approach. So I think that that's something super easy to do at home. Whether you're working on a jump float, you can just really work on the rhythm of your right, left, toss, right, left. And you can really make sure that that rhythm is right. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could toss the ball, you could get a camera, you could put it down on the ground, you can record your steps, and you can make sure that you're going slow to fast, make sure that you're going small to big. I think that that's pretty easy. The other thing with our approach that you don't even need a court for, if your ceiling is high enough, you can really practice placing the ball. I just hit my light. Placing the ball the same spot every single time. Because the more consistent your toss is, sorry, I'm cut off. The more consistent your toss is, the more consistent your contact is going to be. So that's something that you can work on at home. Defense, for all you liberos out there, I think that there's a lot that you can do ball control wise. I'm going to get down on a knee here. So again, you could do things against the wall where you kind of attack it against the wall and try to dig it up to yourself. Try to dig it high, obviously high and up, and then just do that there. The other thing we really like our liberos to be able to do is have this good ball control where you're able to touch the ball and really control where it goes. So we do this little drill. It's a 7 contact pepper. It's pretty simple, but you can just pass it to yourself. Pass, set, fist, tomahawk, set. Pass, set, fist, tomahawk, set. Pass, set, fist, tomahawk, set. Where you're getting a lot of different touches. Maybe it's an emergency move, a tomahawk, a fist. If you want to do that and add a wall, pass, set, fist. Pass, set, fist, tomahawk, set. Hit it against the wall, and then just keep it going. So lots of different touches. Other things that you could do ball control wise, kind of just pass it off the platform. Maybe you get high up on your platform, down low off your fist, so that you're really getting the ball to touch your platform a lot. Moving on, attacking. I love attacking. This is where you break things in your house. So I'm just kidding. We're not going to break anything. So when we attack, we've got our bow and arrow here, and we're getting ready to hit. Our elbow goes up, okay? So the last position where we're at, right before we attack, is our elbow is up high with our hand lagging behind our elbow. And then it kind of whips through at the end. So one thing you could do, I've got a little coin here. Put a coin on your elbow. And this is kind of just going to simulate the very last step of the attack where that elbow flies, sorry, the coin flies off your elbow. And then you, whoops. And then you catch it. If you go too slow, the coin will just fall off. So it's really important to be fast there at the end to grab that coin. I think I've got, the other thing with attacking is you can really make sure the same thing that we were talking about with serving. If you go put your phone on the ground right next to your feet, you can go slow to fast, and you can really work on the rhythm of your approach. I think that that's something when girls get to us, even at the college level, we talk a lot about their approach. So we want to go slow to fast, and you can make sure that your steps are getting small to big and slow to fast. And then the last thing I'll add with that approach is to really get good at this double arm lift. You can do that in quarantine, where you get your arms all the way past parallel. So you can put a camera out, you can make sure that your arms are going all the way past parallel, just like this, and then they're gonna come through to help you jump. So get a good slow to fast, and then you jump. I think the last skill, or I got 2 more, blocking. Again, you can just set up against the wall like this is a net. Make sure you're in your ready position. And then you can make good blocking moves where you're practicing and just envisioning that ball being set either to the right side or the outside. You're going to drop your hands, make a quick jab step, and then you're going to take a big second step. And you can do that really all day. You're here, drop your hands, big second step. You can go the other way, drop your hands, big second step. So there's a lot of things that you can do footwork wise that'll help you get better, even without a net, even without a setter. The last thing I have here is setting. Pretty simple. The wall and the ball can be your best friend in quarantine. So we can do things, I'll get down here. We can do things where you get really close to the wall. You're setting fast. Maybe you're moving a little bit further away from the wall. And try to keep your shape the entire time. Now get a little bit closer, further away. Okay, you can set to yourself, set to the wall, set to yourself, set to the wall. There's a lot of things that you see on YouTube. Setters laying on the ground, setting up, doing all sorts of cool things. So yeah, those are just some of the ideas of what we're doing in quarantine.
That was fantastic, Johnny. And you didn't lose breath. That was impressive.
Just a little bit.
I want to thank Johnny for doing that. Better you than me demoing, Johnny. Thank you.
I don't know. You're in the field house, so it'd be good for you.
I am. Let's go.
You got all those fans behind you to cheer you on also.
Yeah, I like how you kind of focused on, working on those quick reactions. It's so important in volleyball, especially, to be twitchy, get those fast twitch. And that coin thing, I remember being young and doing that. I didn't know I was working on my arm swing, but we would stack them up and see how many you could get, how many you could catch. Did anybody do that? No, just my fun house, clearly.
Yeah, just get a big old stack like this. Kennedy knows what she's doing tonight. She's going to go practice that.
Oh, yeah.
Up your arm because you have to be super quick. But,
That's awesome.
well, those sound fantastic. I'm excited to try those. And we'll take all the calls, I'm sure, of parents who are enjoying the sound on the wall from the bedroom, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. All the parents that have the no balls in the house rule they're panicking right now.
That's awesome. Well, that sounds great. Hey, maybe we can kind of move next to talking a little bit about fall and kind of looking ahead to that. I know there's still a lot up in the air. I know Coach Olmstead kind of touched on that. But Coach, could you talk a little bit about, should everything, move forward, kind of what the schedule's looking like?
Yeah, the schedule is definitely fluid and up in the air. And so nothing in the country at all is set in stone. So we're looking to play the best competition we can in preseason to get us ready for the West Coast Conference. And hopefully we have a full slate of West Coast Conference, but nobody knows what schools will be open, how many schools are going to be ready to play in conference. And so really it's going to be a play it by ear, and the NCAA is doing all they can to get us information to let us know if it's a go and what that looks like.
Yeah, have they even set a time, or it's just like week to week?
It's day by day. Yeah, nobody knows. There's some schools that are opting to go online only, and that's happening every day. So I think it's definitely up in the air. But we're working and moving forward as if we're going to be playing, so we're prepared until someone tells us we're not.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's talk a little personnel. That it's kind of exciting to come in each year and see the new team on the floor. Obviously losing some pretty critical seniors this year. Do you guys want to, I don't know who to field it to, kind of want to talk about how you replace those positions? You've got a lot of people coming in, and then maybe new faces that we might see.
Yeah, I just did a podcast with Ben Criddle on ESPN yesterday. It's on our Twitter if you want to access that. It talks about our incoming class that was ranked number 14th by Prep Volleyball. So every year the challenge, Amy, is you've got kids that graduate, you've got seniors that have exhausted their eligibility, and we've got to find a way to replace those kids that were starters and that were playing for us. So this year's no different. We've got some holes we need to fill, and I think that's exciting for the players on our team that have opportunities to step into those roles. Some of the girls have been dreaming about this their whole life, and the opportunities are there. It's no different than any other year.
Yeah, but you do have a lot of fun. I'm thinking especially in the libero category, Coach Neely, can you talk about just, you've got a lot of really talented players and kind of the different faces that we might see and kind of what they bring to the table.
Yeah, to Heather's point, you have, girls on the roster that have been here a year or two, and then girls that are coming in that are going to compete. So I think it's easy to say, and it's happened essentially every year since I've been here, and probably every year on every team ever. But I think it's easy to look and say, oh, you're losing, an All-American. How are you ever going to replace that? But then you got these girls, that are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of training when you include club that are ready to come in and compete. And so it's not like we're just starting from scratch. These girls have been training and working hard, especially the libero position where, we have these feisty personalities, that make great liberos. They're ones that are super into competing. And so that makes it fun in our gym. And then, part of our incoming class, we're bringing in another DS libero from California who's going to come in and compete. So we're super excited for that position. It's something we train every single day. We train the liberos and DSs, and I think we're going to be in good shape.
Kennedy, you are a fifth-year senior, so you are just all BYU, all Cougar. Can you kind of talk a little bit? I mean, so much, skills are very important, but obviously the culture and the feeling within a team is so important to the success of a team. So as that senior, what does it mean to be a Cougar? Like, what do you expect when people come in, or what does your team feel like as far as that culture on the floor?
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty cool being a fifth-year senior because I've been here for all those past years. And I remember coming in as a freshman and having those seniors like Amy and Whit for my position really kind of show me the way. And right when I got here, I could tell when I was a freshman and I got here, the thing that stood out to me was like hard work. And that's been every year. And also how close the girls are. And I think everyone on the team can see that. And that's part of our culture that we want to keep and we're trying to build. Heather mentioned it, but we are working on our culture and every year trying to build it. But that's something that I think is really special to BYU is we love BYU. We love the place we play in. And it's such a blessing to play here. But also we love the girls on our team. And every opportunity we have to be with each other is special. And I think that's also something in quarantine that has really been pointed out to us is how much we miss each other and really what a blessing it is to be with each other and get to practice and play every day. And so we're all just chomping at the bit to get back with each other because we miss each other. But I think that's really cool about our culture is how close we are and just hard work.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And thinking Whitney's a little bit on that opposite end. Whitney, everyone, I know last year we were so sick of everyone saying 17, she's only 17, 18, which is great. But can you remember way back to when you left your senior year early, making that jump from club to NCAA Division I is a huge difference. I vividly remember my first week on the floor and being a middle blocker. I remember just turning around. Like the game was so fast, all I could do was turn, and I was a second late for everything. But can you talk about kind of how your transition was and what you noticed of the changes, especially you needed to make, because you got thrown into the fire. It was awesome.
Oh no, it was super fun. I remember being a little nervous, but I had like I'm just gonna echo Kennedy. McKenna and Mary were amazing, and they were wonderful examples to me of just hard work. And I really felt like I didn't get thrown into the fire that fast. I kind of, practices were really long, but they were like really helpful and just helped me just get integrated with, just the competitive level of college. So,
are there changes you had to make specifically in your game that you can think about, like what you really had to work extra hard on coming in?
Yes, and I'm sure Heather can echo this, but yeah, there's a lot of changes that I'm still trying to work on and still trying to, fix from previous years of just playing volleyball. So now I'm just still trying to get better, but yeah, there was a lot of changes that I had to just fix just to be able to play at a college level.
I think that's what's important for people to understand is that, every learning, and you guys mentioned that you're just trying to keep getting better and learn how to learn. Because if we, as club players, just kind of develop these skills and this is my shot, you know, and I'm going to stick with it and it's worked all the way through, we're really limiting ourselves. And so kind of learning how to learn becomes so important to future success. So I think it's obvious that you guys have really integrated that into how you train and how you approach the game. So that's really good. Do you guys want to take some questions?
Yes.
Fantastic. So we can kind of move to that. I think the first thing we wanted to start with, a lot of people are wondering how they, and these are for coaches, how, not necessarily to get recruited, but how to be attracted. What attracts you to a recruit when you're kind of looking for who to bring in?
Yeah, I know when Carl McGowan has been a part of our program for years, he would say, when you're good, you're good. And so if you're good, you're good. Coaches are going to see you. And that always kind of stuck with me. Like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Like, when you're good, you're good. And so I think to get to that point of where you're good is the question, right? How do I get to that point where I'm good and everybody sees me? Because when you're there, then everyone's going to know who you are and you're going to get highly recruited. So I think being focused and on the process and the work of getting better and get excited about your craft, that's when you're going to see that progress and you're going to see growth and getting better. But, you know, being consumed with the recruiting process or who's going to see you, I don't know that that's going to get you very far, but having passion for your craft, whatever sport it is going to get you seen. Because I think that when you love something, love is competency, and your competency in that skill or sport grows. When you really, really love it, you're going to put time and energy into it, and you will see that grow, and you will get the reward of being recruited or being looked at. But it will take some work as far as reaching out and letting people know who you are and what you're interested in, and kind of go from there.
I like that. So for them, a lot of people have said, how do we start that process or get involved? So you would recommend just kind of reaching out and letting those know that you're interested.
Yeah, I think having things somewhat narrowed down geographically, level of play, where you see yourself fitting, talking with some club coaches, high school coaches to get a list, and then reaching out and letting those schools know that you're interested and having them watch you, whether it's a highlight video or in person, is somewhere to start. And I think having, you know, somebody help guide you in that recruiting process is a good idea, and have some realistic, you know, expectations on your part.
That sounds awesome. And it is interesting being old like me, but you know, you see things, you can tell who is on the floor and who really enjoys it and eats it up. It's palpable. And so I love that you mentioned the love, because that kind of comes through. How, talking to the players, sometimes it's hard to love it when you have been doing double days for 4 months and you're exhausted and things get a little tired. So Kennedy, can you just talk about how you've probably never felt tired? Kind of how do you push through? How do you keep going when things get not necessarily hard, but maybe a little routine?
Yeah, I think one thing my mom has always talked to me about is just being grateful. And I think that's like one of the biggest things, is just like really being grateful for this opportunity to, like, because I'm in this spot where growing up, it was a dream to play at BYU, you know? And so now that you're here, sometimes it can get routine, but, you know, honestly, like, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. And just remembering, like, this is where I'm here and I want to get better. And these opportunities that may push me out of my comfort zone, like, that's what I want, because that'll help me be the best that I can be. And just remembering, like, I want to do this and this is so fun, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else with any other people.
So 5 a.m. when that alarm goes off, you just jump out of bed.
Oh, yes. I have to remind myself at 5 a.m. But
And I'll talk about that, Amy, a little bit. We've talked about as a team just the motivation to stay motivated during this quarantine, and that we're all going through different points in the day or in this quarantine where we're not super motivated to do the workout or watch the film or meet with the team on Zoom, and we just want to do something else. And so that's okay to recognize that. But we've talked as a team about just start, just put your clothes on, start working out. And once you do that, you feel so much better. And you always love it after, right? After you hike up to the peak, you love the view. things like that, where, you know, we understand our team in general could be struggling with motivation. We as coaches go through that as well. So we want to recognize that and understand that that's normal, but we can do hard things. And when you have that purpose, you know, getting back together and playing this season, you know, and you have that end goal and you're on that path to get there, I think that also motivates you. When you know and you have your purpose, it's going to be motivating every day to get up and do things with your team.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because not just in sports, but yeah, in COVID world, let's put on those jeans, get out of those sweats.
Yep.
Let's move to another one. Someone else asked about, Coach, as you try to plan for the future, are you thinking of how practices might look in a post-pandemic? You know, what kind of adjustments do you think you might make there?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on when our kids get back. I mean, this is unique. We did get quite a bit of spring training. We got almost 6 weeks, 5 weeks together, which we feel very blessed to have had in the spring. So we did get to work together. You know, May is usually the downtime where they get to be off. They get to go on vacation and do their thing. So we're hoping once we know when they can come back in June or July, depending on how much time they get in the weight room and to play on the court, some free play, that'll determine what our practices look like. So until we know more of that, we're definitely have some contingency plans. We're definitely counting jumps. We're definitely gonna see, you know, who's ready to go, because there's gonna be kids at different places. Their bodies are gonna be in different situations based off of, you know, what they had available to work out. So, I mean, I think Whitney has a weight room in her garage, right? She's got 7 girls in her family, and they have a sand court. Whitney has a sand court. So, and I know Kennedy's doing a good job. So it's just going to be there at different levels. We'll have to assess that when we all get together, and we're definitely going to be aware of that. We're already, and I know the girls don't think that, we already are in the category of under training than over training. And so we want to be fresh. We want to be healthy, depending on, you know, what happens.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. And Whitney, I think now you're going to have a line of cars coming up to your
I know.
hours. We kind of talking, maybe Whitney, you can talk a little bit. We have a lot of setting questions here. A lot of people kind of want to think about, can you just talk a little bit about maybe like footwork and something, pick one thing specific that you had to change, or kind of what does your life look like? Because I think a lot of people maybe underestimate how hard, and everyone works hard, but I think setters just coming in and running the show, you got to, you know, look at a lot of film. And can you just kind of go through that?
Oh, well, you just mentioned film, and film was a really big one for me because, you know, I've always loved watching film and watching, you know, everyone else above or older than me. And, but one big thing that I probably had to change would probably be footwork. And, you know, you're kind of like, footwork, you know, that doesn't have to do a lot of setting, but it really does. And, you know, coming in from service-y rotations, just going to the net, you know, your footwork is super, super important. Also just, you know, your right, left, right to the ball. So at the net to the ball is also really, really important. And that's one thing that I had to change because, you know, I had different, I actually didn't really have a pattern going for me. I just tried to keep it consistent, but it wasn't as consistent as BYU. So it was a really good change. And, you know, right, left, right to the ball is super, super important.
And were you always a setter, or from you knew you wanted to be, or did somebody tell you, hey, you should be a setter?
Oh, back in the day, I was a great outside hitter. Back in the day. No, but yeah, I wasn't very good. So no, yeah, setter was definitely the right position for me. When Morgan, my younger sister, got hurt, she was actually the setter before me, and so then she got hurt, and so then I took over the setting position, and she came in as libero. So it just kind of worked out perfectly. So it was great.
Kennedy, we're also getting a lot of questions, you know, from people who are maybe in the position you were a few years ago and want to know what they can do to better prepare for college in general or playing later. Is there, if you could change one thing or give yourself some advice when you were in high school, what would that be?
I actually received this advice from Heather and Sean when they were recruiting me, and I asked them, what can I do when I was preparing to go to BYU? What can I do to like get prepared? And they said, the best thing that you can do is just play a lot of volleyball and have fun doing it. And I know that that advice was super helpful. And I even wish that I would have done more volleyball, but I think just play as much volleyball as you can and just love doing it, because you'll get better the more you play, and you'll learn the game more the more you just get familiar with it. So I think that was the best advice that I received to prepare.
And Heather, how awesome is that? She remembered.
Oh, you know, that means a lot. We had to do a lot of work to convince Kennedy, who was at the top basketball player in the state, not to play basketball at Oregon or BYU. And so we had our work cut out for us, and it's paying off.
I say, Kennedy, I remember talking to the coaches about you specifically, and what they mentioned kind of stuck out to me. Not only you being obviously a very talented player, but just talking about what an incredible teammate you are and how you are all in for the team all the time. And I think that's so important. And maybe when you're young, you're all concerned with arm swing and how hard I'm hitting and did I win the warm up, where being a teammate and working hard and supporting is sometimes just as important. So nice job, Kennedy.
Thank you.
Are there any other things, coaches, that you think just kind of those maybe not statable attributes that you think are really important for players to have?
I'll say a couple things. One, we really notice when we're watching either a club tournament or whatever it might be, the energy and, you know, the effort level that's given. I think that that's a really big deal. Communication and being able to use your voice and being vocal. We don't like being mute on the volleyball court. And so being able to talk and use your voice is a big deal. So those are all things that maybe we're seeing and paying attention to. Then the other thing, some advice that I would give, you know, a high school kid that's coming in to play college is just to be ready to learn and be ready to grow, because every coach, whether they coach something a little bit different, they have a reason for why they do it. And they believe it's because it's going to make that individual the best player they could be. And so if someone has a fixed mindset where they're not really willing to change their approach or not really willing to drop their hands when they're blocking, whatever it might be, if they're not going to get invested and buy into that, I don't know if they're going to become the best version of themselves. And so, yeah, the learning process is huge, especially when you get to the college level, because us coaches are going to throw a bunch of things on you. And if you embrace it, you'll get better. And if not, you won't.
I think that's so great, because all of us, we don't like to fail, right? And so it's so hard, especially coming up when you're a kid. I think it's that willingness to be bad at something, you know, try this thing that the coach is telling you and fail at it, because like you mentioned, that you're never going to make changes, which is hard for all of us, I think. But I
was going to say, oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to a couple things else that we look for and I look for is just, you know, we call it confident humility, just being confident in yourself, having that self-belief. If you don't believe in yourself by the time you get to a college, you know, it's going to be really tough. Of course, coaches believe in you, your teammates, but you really need to have self-belief. And these two right here definitely believed in themselves and had self-belief. And a lot of that was the environment that they were raised in, with, you know, positive feedback, also realistic feedback towards them. And then they're humble as well. So they're able to give credit where credit is due. And they understand, you know, what they need to do to get better. And they've got that humility to ask questions and to understand they're not perfect. And that's a big deal as well.
I think that's great. I like how you put them together, because they kind of go together. Because when you're confident, you don't need to put up any false pretenses. And so you can be humble and push that off. So I think that's fantastic, Heather. A couple of people are wondering if you trained with the men's team. Maybe Kennedy, do you guys just at home with the Eschenberg family kind of
Yeah. With Zach, I do train with the men's team. In practice, we don't. It's been nice, especially during quarantine, to have Zach. And we were in California with his family, and they're a big beach volleyball family. And I, from Utah, haven't played much beach, but it is a good practice for me. But it's super nice having Zach and being able to have a partner to work on those drills that Johnny was talking about.
Maybe a little bit. I think it's interesting, you know, you being a junior last year and working with a new setter. Can you guys just go kind of real quickly go into what you two, both Whitney and Kennedy, had to do to develop that relationship? Because the setter middle relationship just is so subtle. What are some specific things that you guys did to get really comfortable with each other?
Well,
Yeah.
one thing.
So
Oh, go ahead.
wait.
No,
You could see the chemistry right there. That was it.
Well, one thing, we both realized that, practices and the setting reps the connection reps that we were getting in practices, wasn't enough and wasn't, as much as we probably wanted it to be. And so I know Kennedy was always like, Whitney, what are you doing? Let's go. And so we were always on the other third court, getting extra reps at the end of practices. So I know that really helped, whether it was like a slide or a four or any, so Kennedy was just always awesome, just, wanting to get extra reps. So that definitely helped with the connection.
Thanks, Sweat. And I just want to, I bet like people don't really realize how crazy it would be for like a freshman to come in and set. But Whitney like did such a good job. And I think it comes down to her leadership, because the setter really is a huge leader on the court. And I just think like her communication with me and like maybe me saying I need it higher, but then her telling me like, I need you to do this, and just having that communication and being open with each other really helped too. And we're still working on it, but it's gotten a lot better. And also just how fun it is to just get extra reps or work in practice on it. So coaches giving us those reps also.
Love reps. What do you guys, size has been a big issue people are talking about. Is there a specific size that's ideal for an outside hitter or a setter, or what if I'm smaller or undersized? Coach Neely, can you kind of talk about that in regards to your ideals and anything that's maybe gets you out, like you cannot be an outside hitter if you're less than 6'5", that type of stuff?
Okay, I'm gonna answer your question by asking Whitney a question. Whitney, how tall are you?
5'8", 5'9" with shoes.
Okay, 5'8". Did you play front row?
Heck yeah, I did.
She did. She played front row. So I think there's a lot of people that put themselves in a box. Oh, I'm not 6 feet. I can't be an outside hitter at the Division I level. And maybe there's some value. Yeah, if you can't really jump and you're really small, like you should probably be looking at the libero position. There's some truth to that. But for the most part, like if you can play and you can figure out how to score, and you have a pretty good arm, you're going to be able to score at the highest levels in volleyball. There's been plenty of examples of undersized outside hitters, even coming through BYU, that are a little bit smaller, maybe under recruited, that performed really well. I could think of a few just right off the top of my head in the last couple of years that have played here at BYU. With that being said, I think that there's some areas to provide value other ways. And so if you're an outside hitter, let's say you're 5'7" and you're touching 9'6" or 9'7", that would be pretty low for our level. So a couple things I would encourage you to do is get really good at passing, get really good at your angles, and be a really good defender. And now you're opening up more opportunities for yourself as a libero at top level schools. Or you look at some mid to lower level Division I schools or Division II schools, whatever it might be, that fit a little bit more of your physical capacity and makeup. But for the most part, we're training all of our hitters the same, regardless of what they're touching and how they're touching. When we go and recruit, we're looking for those things we've already talked about, and their arm, just their mindset, their ability to score. That's much more important than the girl that's touching 10-4, but plays it at 9-4 and can't score. So I think that, an outside hitter, particularly, your job is to score. If we go on to and you're doing that, I think that helps. Heather, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say it's a great question. I would say we prefer to measure the size of their heart.
Like it. It's cliche, but I like it, Heather.
There's also been a lot of questions about kind of the diversity of the team. A lot of times people think that you go to BYU, you have to be LDS, but maybe Heather, can you just talk about all the different types of players from different backgrounds on the team?
Yeah, not everybody on our team is LDS. We've got Grace Wee, we've got Maddie Allen coming in this year. We had Ronnie Jones-Perry previous years that was not LDS. And so we are open to any and all religions. BYU is a diverse university. And so we are trying to get the best volleyball players we can to win a national championship. So we attract a lot of LDS players. We want the best LDS players in the country to come here. That's going to help us accomplish our goal. And we also love the best non-members that are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that have high standards spiritually, academically, athletically, and socially, that want to be great, whether that's visions of playing professional volleyball or playing on a national team. We want them to accomplish their dreams here, and that's what we're looking for.
That's great. And looking ahead, Whitney, what are your goals for this fall season specifically?
You know, our goal is always just, you know, we're always striving to win a national championship or to win our conference. So, you know, we're always just trying to get better.
Kennedy, do you have anything on the agenda for your senior year?
Yeah, we want to win the West Coast Conference and we want to make it far in the tournament. And like Whit said, those are always our goals. And I think that's one thing that's been cool about our Zoom calls is we talk about our goals and we talk about like how we're going to get there because we need to do things to get our or achieve our goals.
Coaches, do you want to just maybe let's end with kind of some advice to all of the fans who are kind of going through this pandemic and looking ahead? What can they do now to just be ready for whatever comes in the next few months, and specifically volleyball as well?
Yeah, I think staying positive and being grateful, like Kennedy talked about, is something that we're working on. We've got certain steps that we're working on as a team to create happiness. We've got some people that we're leaning on to help us through this pandemic. Leadership, people way smarter than us as a coaching staff that are helping our girls just see the big picture. This has been a great opportunity to gain perspective on slowing down in life, on being with family. I know a lot of people are struggling. We are as well, but trying to see the positive in what's going on and knowing that this is going to end, whether it's, you know, sooner or later, we don't know, but staying as positive as we can, doing what we can do, and really taking the opportunity to do things that you were too scared to do. I think to be fearless, we talk about that a lot on the mental side. We don't want any fear in whatever we're doing, and we want to go do things that we've maybe been scared to do before, and let's just go see what happens. And once we start that, you really can find new things about yourself that you never knew. So I would say be positive, look for ways to serve others and show your gratitude. It will change your whole demeanor.
Amen to that, Heather. I don't have much to add. I think there's always positive in everything. And so, you know, for me personally, like, this has given me an opportunity to spend, you know, more time with my wife and my children, and to tackle some projects that I've been wanting to do professionally, to look at, you know, reach out and work more with alumni or whatever it might be, that those opportunities might not have been there if this hadn't happened. And so I think that there's always that silver lining. And like Heather talked about, like being positive and grateful and looking for the silver lining, I mean, that's obviously the first step.
This has been so great. I think thanks to everybody who joined on the call, and thanks to all the fans that have kind of supported and hopped on. I think BYU is so lucky to have such an amazing support. And you look at the crowd behind Heather right now, you can feel the palpable effect that it has on this team and their success. And I think the fans are just as responsible for the success as this amazing team and coaching staff. And so thanks to everybody, and we're excited that we got to do this. Maybe we'll do another one. Thanks for those who answered or asked questions as well. And we're hoping for a fall season. We're really excited. So thanks.
Us too.
Thank you, Amy, for jumping on. And Amy, I don't even know if you told everyone who you were and like all your accolades.
Anyone. I'm just
No, you got to tell everyone. Like, you played in that gym back there. You got to tell everybody.
Yeah, well, I played at BYU. I was a middle blocker from 94 to 97, and I love being a Cougar. So I'm excited to be a part of the team.
So thank you
Cougs.
for joining us. Thanks, girls. Thanks, Whitney, Kennedy, and Johnny, and Jordan. We appreciate you, and our fans. Thank you. We can't wait to see you guys again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.